Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and for unboxings.com. Here I have the Sanyo Xacti VPC-FH1, which is kind of a higher end camcorder from Sanyo in the Xacti range, which I'm going to do an unbox for you. Apologies for the slightly tatty box because this is actually slightly older and has been reviewed by other people, so please bear that in mind. Just thought I'd mention that we are recording on the Sanyo Xacti HD 1010. Many people ask what I record on. I record on the Xacti HD 1010 or the HD 2000 most of the time, depending on which one is basically to hand. So inside the box for the VPC-FH1 we have the instruction manual, which is quite chunky, quite heavyweight, but quite chunky and heavyweight, and is actually just in English language, so there's quite a lot to read there should you want to. Then we have the software, which has got the Xacti screen capture, and Microsoft Panorama Maker. Then we have a getting started guide, which is just a quick guide, basic stuff you need to know. There is this short addendum to the manual. And then there is another foreign language getting started guide, and a safety manual using your digital camera safely and correctly. Interesting. And then a small instruction manual, which is to do more with the menu and playback, so that's also there too. Further inside the box, we've got a couple of chokes for around the cables. Then we have a component video cable with a proprietary connector. We've seen this style of connector on some of the other Xacti camcorders, so it's pretty standard for Sanyo there. And obviously then we have the RGB and the audio connectors on the other end, allowing us to play HD back over component. We then have this adapter, which has a proprietary style small USB connector on one end and then a standard USB socket on the other. That's so we can plug in USB memory style devices. We have a small piece of string there. Now the reason for that is to actually connect up the lens cover. We have a small remote control. We have the lens cap itself. We then have a standard USB to that proprietary cable there. That's for connecting up the camera to your PC or Mac, for actually getting the footage off the camera onto your computer. Camcorder itself is in the centre, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail in just a second. We also have a composite video cable, again with this sort of proprietary style connector there, and then composite plus left and right audio. Further in we have the charger, which is an inline style charger with a small billet style connector on one end, and that takes a standard sort of figure 8 style connector. Then have a UK mains cable, standard. And finally, we have another small choke to go around a cable to prevent interference, the idea there. So look at the camera itself. Unlike some of the other Xacti camcorders in the range that are sort of pistol style, such as the CA9, which is sort of more typical of the Xacti range, the FH1 is kind of more conventional. It's handheld with the strap on the back to go around your hand, so more conventional in that sense. On the front we have a fairly large lens, which is good for a 16 times zoom, optical zoom. We also have a flash on the front for taking your stills, and a left and right microphone, so we can obviously record stereo audio. We have a flip out screen on the side, which is widescreen, also quite generous in size. That does rotate so that you can record yourself should you wish to do so, and obviously folds flat that way and also that way for doing playback, which is quite useful. Underneath we have an on-off button for the power. We have the component AV connector. Notice there's no cover over that, and that looks kind of raw, but as do the other connectors here. There's no covers over those, which is kind of a bit of a shame really. That just looks a little bit exposed. So there's a USB connector and a mini HDMI connector. SD card under a flap like so, and that will take up to 32 gig SDHC memory cards. Again, that just feels a little bit basic to me, the fact that it's just a sort of a plasticky flap over the memory card slot. I think some of the other Xacti camcorders are a little bit more refined than that, considering this is kind of high end. On the back there's a cover over the charger socket, and then there's a lock switch for the battery compartment on the bottom, which opens like so, and the battery pops in like that, and the cover pops back on. That locks in place, which is quite good. Also on the bottom there is a 1/4 inch screw thread, which is standard for connecting up to a tripod. On the back, just under your thumb B when you're holding it, you have the buttons for taking a still or recording video, playback and recording button in the center, and then a little joystick for actually navigating around the menu button there. On the top we have the zoom control, which is a nice soft zoom control, so we have a little bit of control there in terms of how fast it zooms in and out. There's a tiny little loudspeaker there, which is used for when you're actually playing back your video footage. Nothing really to speak of on this side, aside from the actual strap that goes around your hand when you're holding the camcorder. It's quite lightweight. In terms of rest specification, I could go on. There's rather a long spec list. It is an 8 megapixel sensor, so you can take 8 and even up to 12 megapixel stills, 12 megapixel with interpolation, or 8 megapixel native. It does record full HD at 1080i, 1080p, also 720p, and various other lower quality recording modes, depending on how much footage you also want to try and get onto your memory card. The quality, obviously, of the recording will affect how much recording time you have. I won't go into the full details of the specification. As I say, the spec is really too long to sort of rattle off to you in an unboxing video, so I'll actually include that when it comes to do the full review, and alongside the actual video on tracyandmac.co.uk. Full review will be on there in the next couple of weeks. If you're a fan of our unboxing videos, please check out the others that we have on unboxings.com.